And welcome back. I want to give you guys an update regarding the Florida housing market. What we're seeing right now in Florida at the statewide level. This is because I noticed that the Florida Association of Realtors just announced the latest housing market trends for October. So I have a lot to share in today's video, especially regarding home prices, housing inventory, and of course, much more, according to the Florida Association of Realtors. So here's what they say on their website here, which is posted on November 18th. And this is what their chief economist, who's Dr. Brad O'Connor, had to say regarding the Florida housing market right now. It says, at the beginning of 2022, this marked the end of a nearly 2-year period of record low mortgage rates as the Fed began to reverse its course in order to fight inflation, of course. The rapid pace of the resulting increases in rates has dramatically increased the monthly payments required for new mortgages. And home price growth has only recently started to show signs of responding. This is an excellent point because rates have gone from 3.3% on January 1st, and now at the time of this video, average rates for people with exceptional credit is at 6.6%. So in other words, rates have more or less doubled since January 1st of this year. However, though, we're not seeing this giant decrease in home prices so far. And therefore, because mortgage rates have increased so much more than home prices decreasing, this is causing average monthly housing payments for would-be home buyers to increase greatly compared to January 1st. And of course, because of this is causing a housing affordability issue in Florida and frankly across the United States, which is decreasing home buying demand. And the Florida Realtors chief economist touched on this. He says, in terms of closed home sales in Florida, 2022 started out a lot like 2021. But soon the shock of rapid rise in mortgage rates caused many buyers to suspend their home searches and sit on the fence. And speaking of home buyers sitting on the fence, have a look at this because here's a high-level overview about what we're seeing right now in Florida for the state as a whole in October 2022 compared to 1 year ago. So closed home sales were down by almost 25% on a year-over-year basis here. So we're seeing this huge decrease in closed home sales compared to 1 year ago. And by the way, all the stats I'm sharing in today's video are based on single-family houses. It excludes multifamily, only looking at single-family houses. So closed home sales down by 24.6%. Interesting enough, we're starting to see a big decrease in cash sales as well, because those are down by 28.4% on a year-over-year basis. Meanwhile, the median sold price across the state is $401,990, so just less than $402,000, and that's an increase by 12% on a year-over-year basis, which is obviously much higher compared to historical levels in the range of 3 to 6%, and of course not 12%. And also check this out because on average, home sellers are selling their houses for less than their asking price. For October 2022, home sellers sold their houses for about 3% below their original asking price. That's what that 96.9% means. But compare this to 1 year ago, that ratio there was 100%, meaning on average, home sellers were selling their houses for their asking price. So not only are home sellers selling their houses for less than their asking price on average right now, it's also taking longer to sell houses as well, because the median days in the market is at 25 days right now. Compare this to 1 year ago, it was 12 days. So that's a 108% increase on a year-over-year basis. So in other words, it's taking more than twice as long to sell a house in Florida compared to 1 year ago. And here's another trend we're seeing right now that's an indication that home buying demand is decreasing. So pending home sales are down by 41.2% on a year-over-year basis. In other words, we have approximately 41% fewer contracts being signed between buyers and sellers right now, which is pretty astonishing given the fact that there's approximately 88% more houses for sale right now compared to 1 year ago. What's really telling to me regarding this is that inventory increased by 88.4%, but this is despite the fact that new listings are down by 18.1%. So this increase of inventory is not due to a giant increase of new listings. It's really due to houses taking longer to sell and a decrease in contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. And this decrease of home buying demand is causing the month supply to increase by 107.7%. So the month supply right now is 2.7 months, 1 year ago, it was 1.3 months. Now, before I take a deep dive into each of these stats right here, and I'll share how this compares to 2018 through 2021, I also want to mention the fact that Hurricane Ian devastated Florida back on September 28th. So some of these stats here for October may be likely impacted by the hurricane. Okay, let's change gears slightly and talk about closed home sales and how this compares to previous years, going back to 2018. So closed home sales were just under 21,000. Again, that's a 24.6% decrease on a year-over-year basis. And closed home sales have been really decreasing by double digits for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive months now. So we're seeing a huge decrease in closed home sales compared to 1 year ago for 5 consecutive months. Now, having said that, we did see a slight increase compared to September, because back in September, there was approximately 20,000 houses that sold, and now there's 20,837. So a small increase compared to September of 2022. However, excluding last month, the current levels right now are the lowest levels since May of 2020. As you can see right here, back in May 2020, there was approximately 20,000 closed home sales, and that's very comparable to what we're seeing right now. Let's also talk about the number of cash sales in Florida for October, because in October there was 5,908 cash sales. That's a giant decrease by 28.4% on a year-over-year basis. And over the past 2 months, we're seeing huge decreases, because back in August, there was approximately 7,500 cash sales. Now there's only 5,900. So for cash sales last month, this is actually the smallest number of cash sales that we've seen since January of 2021. As you can see right here, in January 2021, there was just less than 6,000 cash sales, which is really on par with what we're seeing right now. Now, one more thing I want to mention regarding cash sales over the past 12 months is look at this, because again, over the past 2 months, giant decreases in the range of 28% to 30% decreases on a year-over-year basis. But look at this, from October 2021 through January of 2022, we saw giant increases in the number of cash sales on a year-over-year basis. But ever since then, the number of cash sales has been more or less decreasing, now down by 28.4%, vastly different than January of 2022, where we saw almost a 29% increase in cash sales. Here's also the percentage of closed home sales during the month in which they were cash sales. So for October 2022, the percentage was 28.4%, meaning out of all the closed home sales in October, 28% came from cash buyers. Now that may sound like a lot, but looking at this is the lowest levels in at least the last 12 months. And on top of this, the percentage right now at 28.4% is the lowest levels since early 2021. Okay, let's change gears slightly and talk about home prices in Florida, because as of October, the median sold price in Florida was $401,990, so just less than $402,000, and that's a gain of 12% on a year-over-year basis. However, though, by my analysis right here, this is the 4th consecutive month of declines. In other words, home prices in Florida have been declining since July 2022, which I'd have to say this is entirely normal. During the second half of the year, it's entirely normal to see decreases in home prices compared to 1 year ago, or decreases compared to 1 month ago. But the gains right now at 12% is far below the levels we saw back in December 2021 through May of 2022, where during that time frame we saw gains over 20%. Also have a look at this, because like I mentioned earlier on, houses on average are selling for less than the seller's original asking price. So right now that ratio here is 96.9%, meaning houses on average in October sold for approximately 3% below the seller's original asking price, which is so much different compared to October 2021 all the way until July 2022, when the ratio was 100%, meaning on average, home sellers sold their houses for their asking price. And on top of that, as you guys can see right here, the ratio here has been declining for the past 3 months in a row. So to me, this is pretty astonishing, given the fact that home sellers were selling their houses for their asking price for quite some time, from October 2021 all the way until July 2022. But ever since then, there has been a lot of changes. Let's also have a look at how fast or how slow houses are selling in Florida. So the median days in the market, they're calling this the median time to contract, which of course is the median number of days between the listing date, in other words, when you list your house for sale, and the contract date, which again is when the home seller accepts an offer from home buyer. And these are also for all closed home sales. So this is a lagging indication because these are based on houses that have closed escrow or sales that have been finalized. In any case, for October 2022, the days or the median time to contract, I always call this days on the market, is at 25 days. That's a giant increase by 108.3%. We're seeing giant increases over the past 3 months as well, because look at these year-over-year gains, over 75% over the past 3 months. On top of that, look at this, because back in July 2022, days in the market was only 12 days. So this means that over the past 4 months, days in the market has doubled. On top of that, as I note right here, days on the market has been increasing for 6 consecutive months. What's also pretty eye-opening regarding this is have a look at how the market shifted so fast, because back on October 21st, days in the market was only 12 days. That was a 42.9% decrease compared to October 2020. Now we're up by 108.3% on a year-over-year basis. Now, one thing I do want to mention regarding 25 days right now is that 25 days is still historically very, very low, because look at 2018 through 2019 and the early parts of 2020. Because back in 2018, days in the market was over 30 days every single month. Same for 2019. In fact, during 2019, days in the market was hovering around 40 days. But days in market right now is at 25 days. And my biggest takeaway regarding this table right here is that even though days in the market is at 25 days, this is still historically low. But despite that, we saw this huge increase of inventory over the past 4 months, which is an indication that home buying demand is decreasing, despite the fact that days in the market is still historically low. Let's also have a look at pending home sales, because those are down by 41.2% compared to October 2021 and have been declining big time over the past couple of months here. Also, the current levels right now at 17,714. By my analysis right here, this is the lowest levels since approximately December of 2018. So pending home sales are down by 41%, but new listings are down by 18.1%. Again, huge decreases over the past couple of months here, down by double digits on a year-over-year basis. Also, the current levels we have right now are the lowest levels since December of 2021 regarding new listings. On top of that, on a month-over-month basis, new listings have been falling for the past 4 months in a row. So despite the fact that new listings are down by double digits for the past 2 months in a row, active listings, which of course is housing supply, has been increasing big time. Really look at these gains here, 88.4% as of October compared to October 2021. But look at these gains, over 60% for 5 consecutive months now, gains over 60%. Additionally, housing inventory in Florida has more than doubled since April this year, because back in April, there was approximately 32,485 houses for sale. Again, these are single family, and now there's 68,813. And again, this shift has happened so quickly though, because look at this, back in October 2021, there was a 30.7% decrease of active listing inventory compared to 2020. What's also really interesting regarding inventory trends over the past 12 months is this, because from October 2021 through March of 2020, there was fewer active listings compared to the same time period 1 year ago. And ever since April, we started seeing an increase of active listing inventory. But more recently though, inventory has been absolutely skyrocketing. I also want to share how this year compares to 2018 as well as 2019 as well, which is obviously pre-COVID. Because as I note right here, we saw a huge increase this year, again up by 88.4% from in October, but inventory is still far less than 2018 through 2019. As you can see right here, in 2018 through 2019, inventory levels were more or less above 80,000 houses for sale every single month. Now that it's at 68,813. But despite the fact we have fewer active listings compared to 2018 and 2019, the market is still slowing down big time in the state. Let's also have a look at the month supply of inventory in Florida as well. Again, the month supply right now is 2.7 months, a giant increase of 107.7%. And inventory has been increasing big time over the past several months now, which is pretty astonishing here. And on top of this, inventory, or the supply of inventory, has been rising for 8 weeks in a row. And the month supply right now at 2.7 months has more than doubled since April, when the month supply was only 1.1 months. I also want to give you guys an update regarding foreclosures and short sales in Florida because they are more or less non-existent. Take a look at this. Here's traditional home sales. So there was a 20,723 closed home sales in Florida as of October 2022. Again, a decrease by 24.5% on a year-over-year basis. So over 20,000 traditional regular home sales in Florida in October. But have a look at this. Foreclosures and REOs, which by the way, an REO is a real estate owned property, a property that did not sell at the courthouse steps. It becomes a listing and a real estate agent lists it. Anyways, it's a bank selling house. So foreclosures, only 82 in October compared to over 20,000 traditional home sales in October. Compare this to short sales. Have a look at this. Only 32 short sales in October compared to over 20,000 traditional home sales. Okay, so changing gears slightly, I want to share some trends we're seeing right now by each of the metro areas that the Florida Association of Realtors tracks. I'm not going to be going over all these stats here. Feel free to pause and screenshot if you guys want. But by the way, this is public information. If you guys just go onto the association's website here, you can find this information here. But they provide closed home sales on a year-over-year basis and also home prices compared to 1 year ago. Again, for the state of Florida, down by 25% for home sales, and the median sold price up by 12%. So some metros that are worth mentioning here, because we're seeing huge increases in home prices, are actually in Dayton Beach, Florida, up by 19.7%, and also in Lakeland, Winter Haven, up by 17.9% in home prices compared to 1 year ago. Naples, Florida, up by 23%. Northport and Sarasota, Florida, up by 31% from 1 year ago. And also in Ocala, up by 18.8% on a year-over-year basis. Punta Gorda, up by 22.4%, and Sebring, up by 26.8%. So huge increases in home prices compared to 1 year ago, well above the national averages in the range of 3 to 6% on a historical level here. So please comment below your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. Greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.